I went all my life without you. Something right could be so wrong. Carry on, cause I know I have to let you go.
Hi everyone, and welcome to my channel. Hey, this is Juanita. I have a holly tree back here that I've had for years, and I've always cut it back because leaves fall down, and if I'm not mindful of it, then they give me a good sting. So I cut it back all the time. So I ended up cutting it further up, and I also took out the trellis that was here. I still have one over here that was half moon too, but it broke off. So what I'm gonna do, because there's still a good piece of wood, and so I'm just gonna clean them up and put them back. And then I'm going to be planting a hydrangea that grows anywhere from 40 to 50 feet tall. Now it's not gonna hurt the tree, and if it does, you know what? It's a cherry tree that is thorn in my side because it throws out so many pits in my yard that I don't like it. But nevertheless, it's in my yard. I got to make the most of it. So this is an idea of doing. And the name of this hydrangea is called a Hydrangea Petioloris. And I'm probably batching up that name, so I'll put that right down here for you. But yeah, and it's gorgeous. With that said, I'm gonna go wash these things off, paint them, and bring some dirt in. And then I'll give you a look to see what it looks like. And yeah, so I'm gonna get started. So this is the end result, and I absolutely love it. This is just going to be really lush and beautiful once everything comes into full bloom. But without any real blooms, outside of a few here and there, even the array of colors between all the different shades of foliage makes it really beautiful. Now all these plants are zone 4 to 9 and they're all intended for shade, maybe with a hint of light, pretty much like what you're seeing it right now. This is about what the sunlight I get in here. So I'm going to start with naming the plants that I had and then the plants that I added. Now I wasn't really good about illustrating a before shot, so hopefully this will give you a little bit better idea of what I did have in here. So now I'll go into what I did have, and I had, of course, the little variegated hosta there. I had the blue hosta, the Jack Frost, I had the heuchera, the butterfly shrub, some candy tuft that is in that container right over there, and I believe that is it. Oh, and also the hosta, the variegated hosta over here. So I'm going to start with the rose bush, because if you recall, I had a rose bush tucked behind the fern over there. It's a more woodland shaded area, so it never really grew and it has never bloomed. However, it's been in this yard for 10 plus years. You would never guess from the size of it, but it has been. But it's, like, again, been primarily in shade. So I don't know the type of rose bush that it is, other than it's a climbing rose bush. And I don't even know the color of the blooms. But I'm going to guess that it's a dark red to burgundy flower, just like this one here that I transplanted from this yard into the curbside. But whatever color it's going to be, it's going to play beautifully amongst all the blooms that are going to come in this summer. Outside of that, everything else is new in this area. Now, if you notice, I only put one lattice back because I thought that lattice would just frame this whole area really nicely. Plus, it just looked much cleaner and tidier. So I love it. And the blue plays off of the hue of blues that's within the foliage. It also plays off of the blues within the flowers of the Jack Frost and also the spot-ons that I added. The plant that you see in front of it is called a Hydrangea Petioloris. Now, I really crucified the name earlier, so I apologize for that, but that hydrangea gets anywhere from 10 to 15 feet wide and 40 to 60 feet tall. It is going to be massive. However, that being said, you can actually trim it and maintain it to a certain height and size. But I'm hoping that it will make a really nice privacy screen from the neighbors along that whole cyclone fence. And I think the neighbors will appreciate it and appreciate the flowers as much as I will. Now, the drawback to this is that the Hydrangea Petiolaris actually requires kind of a solid wall behind it so it can suction into it. So obviously that lattice doesn't have a solid back, but I'm hoping it has enough wood in it that it'll suction into it. And then with a little help of guiding it through the cyclone fence and up and around, that I think it'll be perfectly fine. And my hopes is that it'll climb and latch onto the holly tree and then up this cherry tree and just be one beautiful privacy wall right there. I am so excited about it. Now, the flowers are extremely fragrant and they are white in color. They're very much like a lace hydrangea. The other thing about the hydrangea is it will take about a year or two for it to get well established. But once it gets well established, the same way that a winter clematis is, it'll start vigorously growing. And it is considered a vigorous grower. So I'm excited for that because that just means my wall of evergreen and flowers is just going to come that much faster. It's also zoned down to about minus 10 degrees, so it's very hardy. This particular hydrangea, what's nice about it is that it will adapt to any type of soil and any type of light. So it will grow in complete full sun all the way to deep shade. So it's just really beautiful for that reason. And I certainly have a lot of shaded areas here, so I feel that it's very promising. Now, the candy tuft does require full sun, but it does get some filtered sun, and it looks healthy and happy, so I'm going to leave it alone. It's been there for a few years, and it's fine. And it blooms these little white flowers, if you're not familiar with candy tuft. What's nice about the candy tuft, when it's in bloom, it'll have that white, and when it's not in bloom, or if it comes into bloom at the same time that the hydrangea comes into bloom, which blooms from summer to fall, it's just going to go really well together. Now, I added 7 plants. I had 7 plants, and I transplanted 1 plant. And all of these required anywhere from shade to partial shade, except for the rose bush. But that's in a good spot and a good sunny location, so I'm good with that. And the butterfly shrub, it can take anywhere from part shade to sun, so that's in a good spot. I do have this one hosta over here that gets a lot more sun, but it's adapted to that area. And that's the nice thing about hostas, is that as they get older and they get more sunlight, they will adapt to that. So that's in a good place. And of course, the fern also is right now in a sunny location, but it's very short-lived. So all these are going to be perfectly fine. And now I'm going to talk about the ones that I added in. Along with that, I added a couple Longwort spot-ons, which have a variegated leaf, which plays off of the white flowers and also the green foliage of that hydrangea. And then I added a couple of ground covers called Lysimachia Persian Chocolate. And those will grow about 36 inches in diameter. The nice thing about them is that they're not invasive. So you can actually use these in containers. You can eventually pull them out and subdivide them and add them to other areas of your yard. They do require a lot of shade. This area actually gets some sunlight down below, but I still feel that it's a good area for them. But the more shade they get, the more flowers they get, and the flowers on them are yellow, but the foliage is got this hues of reds and pinks and whites and greens in it, so that just adds to the rest of the stuff. The other plant that I added some Lamium, which I call silver beacon, but I'm actually saying it backwards. It's actually beacon silver. In shade areas, it just stays low packed. When it gets a lot of light, it just grows into this big mounts that are about at least a foot tall. And I like them when they stay low as a ground cover. And it just adds for color because of the variegated leaves, and it also is beautiful because it's pink in color, which will add to the pink flowers of the butterfly shrub. So they're going to play off really nicely against the heuchera and the colors of the Persian chocolate. So all of it is just going to go really, really, really well together. And of course, the blue flowers from the Jack Frost, as you can see, goes really nice with that lattice. And of course, the 2 spot-on longworts here that I have, they initially start off with blue flowers, which plays off of the lattice, and also the blue hues from the blue hosta, and as well as the Jack Frost flowers and foliage. The last thing I want to mention, if you notice, I have some white speckle around these hostas, as well as you'll see a white film on the blue hosta. Well, this particular hosta got invaded with snails last year, and they ate that thing and shredded it to pieces, as you can see here. And so this year I am really working hard to protect it because it's kind of a lower ground blue hosta, and so because of that, the snails tend to gravitate towards it. So what you see as far as like white snowflakes down there, it's actually oyster shells. And if you've been following me for a while, you know that that's what I do to protect my hostas and any type of plants that attract snails and slugs. Works in the same concept as crushed eggs, if not even better. So I love it, and it really has kept the snails at bay. They already kind of started munching on that, but hopefully I caught it in time. Okay, so that's going to be it for me for today. Thank you so much for watching, and if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I can't wait for this to start blooming, and I will do a follow-up so you can see what it looks like once it's all in bloom further down in the season. But yeah, I'm happy. I hope you're happy, and if you enjoy this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and notification button so you catch me on all my videos. But most of all, thank you so much for watching. Love you, and don't forget to get up, get out, and get active. It is really important to stay healthy and stay active so that you live a long, long time. We'll see you guys on my next video. Bye-bye.